Good morning, Florida. It is April Fool's Day, the 1st of April. Coming to you again on day 10 from the Czech Republic in Brno. This is another tips for Florida regarding the COVID-19, the coronavirus outbreak that you guys are having there. So basically yesterday I noticed that so the White House seems to be moving towards the thing that I told you 10 days ago about the masks, that you need to start making the masks. You need to start wearing the masks every single time you leave the house. They're kind of slow to pick up on this, but what can you do? The New York Times, there was an article this morning about it's time to make your own mask. And as I've been telling you for the last 10 days, there are a lot of websites, there are a lot of places on YouTube where you can go to find information about how you can make your own masks at home. In Florida, Joann Fabrics is open. They're giving material for free. So if you have a sewing machine, or even if you can just sew by hand, you can go to Joann Fabrics and pick up the materials there to do that. Old T-shirts, for example. The three layers of T-shirt cotton provide 70% protection. If you have a vacuum cleaner bag, and put one of those in between the layers, you've got way over 90%. Because I think the vacuum cleaner bag, actually that filter, I think that one was about 85 just on its own. So if you put that between even two pieces of, sew that in between two pieces of T-shirt material, you're going to be protected, and you're also going to be protecting everybody else. Because this is the thing about wearing the masks. It's not necessarily about just protecting yourself. It's also about protecting other people. That's what we say. That's what we say in the Czech Republic. You can see signs everywhere. I wear a mask to protect you. You wear a mask to protect me. Because again, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to protect the old people and the ill people. Okay, but again, mixed messaging. You have this so this is kind of the White House is slowly moving into saying you need to wear masks. But then yesterday you have also the Surgeon General, who I'm sorry, this is a functional idiot. This is not a very intelligent person. Functional idiots are these people like Ben Carson. These people that are kind of average IQ, maybe a little above average, just slightly, but they're really disciplined, and they can put all of their little IQ points and all of their energy into doing one thing, and they can do that one thing, but they're useless outside of that. So this guy, maybe he was good enough to put all of his energy and discipline into getting an MD, but outside of that, the guy's basically useless. So you've got the Surgeon General the same day saying, well, the masks may do more harm than good. No. I even saw his logic about it, and his logic was, well, if people have the masks on, then they probably will be more lax about the social distancing rules, and no, okay? Again, coming from the place where we're being, we're having success to a great degree against the pandemic. No. Actually, when you put the mask on, it kind of heightens your senses of being careful. You can feel it when you have the mask on and everyone else has masks on. Seeing a bunch of people in masks is not titillating. Seeing a bunch of people in masks when you have a mask walking around does not make you want to be closer to them and go give hugs to everyone. No, it actually kind of it heightens the feeling of alertness. We all look around and we see what we're doing, and the masks help. So what the Surgeon General said is just stupid. It is. This is a functioning idiot. Okay. Then that which brings me right straight to Florida. All right. So again, yesterday the numbers in Florida, it spiked. It's just getting worse. And so DeSantis has closed Broward, Palm Beach, and Dade counties. Okay. Great, because they have that. It needs to be the whole state. Okay. Let me give you an example. So let's say Gadsden County, which is right next to Tallahassee. It's where Quincy's from. So let's say, for example, Gadsden County has, let's say they have 5 known cases. Okay. So the problem with the logic coming out of Tallahassee, the governor's office is like, these are the hot spots, so we're going to contain the hot spots. But these other counties where the numbers are low, that means that those counties are fine. Well, this is complete nonsense. Okay, so let's say we have those 5 people in Gadsden County, that we know about. So those 5 people, how long have they been symptomatic? All right, because first of all, the rest of the world knows this, and the White House and the governor's mansion in Tallahassee have been really slow to communicate this truth to you, because it doesn't really fit with their messaging too much. Is this: once you get infected, a very, very short time after that, you are contagious. Okay? You do not have to be symptomatic in order to be contagious. And I can actually explain this to you in a very simple way, because if some of you are going, well, you're not a doctor, how would you know? Here's the thing. We know that there are gigantically huge, enormous numbers of people that tested positive and never had any symptoms. They say most of the people who get it don't actually have any symptoms, or if they do, they're very, very, very mild. So, if it's possible, they will tell you it's possible for the people to not have symptoms but to still test positive. So but the numbers are spreading so quickly, so they really think that that small percentage of people that have symptoms are the people that are spreading it to everybody. No. And outside of the U.S., we know this. This is why we took these strict measures weeks ago. This is why we are having success against the coronavirus, is because we actually have people that understand math. And we also kind of wanted to take actions so, we did not have this catastrophic death toll. Okay? The numbers from the states. 2 days ago, the White House and Fauci, they said that conservatively, it was 100. They were anticipating 100,000 deaths in the United States. Okay, and then it was 100,000, 200,000 was conservative. And let me just actually check one thing, because in the last 24 hours they moved up to 240,000. Okay, so that's their anticipation so far. Okay, So far, there have been 42,000 deaths, okay? So far, there have been 42,000 deaths, okay? Now, for example, in a lot of the big countries, China and Europe, those countries have already flattened out, The countries in Europe, even where it was kind of more a bit out of control, like Italy and Spain, they're kind of slowly getting to this really high peak that they were at. But for the countries like us that took action, we're still we're slowly getting higher. Very slowly. We're kind of on that not 8, 9, 10% per day. That's it. Some of the places over there in the United States, you're doubling daily. Every other day or every 3 days, you're doubling. I was doing the math, and if we kept our rate, we would double in 10 days or something like that. We've really flattened the curve here. We're winning against this, and so what did I say? It was like 45,000, whatever. And the United States of America, you know, you guys love to talk about this like American exceptionalism. Well, this is one of the cases where your attacks, your war against the smart people. I mean, you guys love having like war on this, war on this, war on this, but you guys like especially over the last 3.5 years, but I mean maybe over the last 20 years, especially with the Fox people, you guys have had this it's like war on it's really called like anti-intellectualism, but you guys have had this war against the smart people. And now that you actually have this situation where you actually need the smart people to help you solve it, you didn't know what to do because you didn't trust, because you so many of you have been trained and taught, to hate the smart people, and the people that you're left with, because you replaced all of the experts, the word expert you always do air quotes with, these people that studied for 10, 15 years that actually understand these things, you have been trained and taught to not trust them. And this has created a situation that you guys now have where, the American exceptionalism now becomes kind of like exceptionally bad. So your conservative estimates, they keep rising each day for, the minimum expected deaths in the United States of America. You went from 100,000 to 200,000. Now we're at almost 250,000. So tomorrow, I'm sure, or today actually, because it's morning here in Europe, they're probably going to raise that again. And so you guys are already up to the expected death rate of being 250,000, which is more than 5 times what it is right now for the rest of the planet. And you guys had so much time to get ready for this. This was in China in January, and then the Chinese did a huge favor for the rest of the planet by completely shutting down that area for 6 weeks. They bought the rest of the planet 6 weeks to get ready for this. And during that time, you had the people inside the United States telling you every single thing that was actually the opposite of the truth. They did nothing to prepare you for this. Nothing. Except feed you this line of bullshit. And then after China, and of course you had South Korea, you had Japan, to look and see what they were doing, to study these things, to find out what was working and what wasn't working, and then it came to Europe, and you saw like different reactions in Europe. Like for example, the Czech Republic, we've had probably one of the best containments of the virus. And then you had other places, for example, like Italy, who did try things. But one of the things about Italy was the reason that they had some problem was just the behavior of the people. They didn't do enough. They didn't take it seriously, or they were escaping the quarantine areas and traveling around and stuff like that and spreading the virus. Inside the United States, you had all this data. Like I said yesterday, all you had to do was look over the fence and see what your neighbors were doing, or look across the water and see. Look at the data, None of this was done. And now you guys are, like in the eye of the hurricane, basically. Shit's just spinning around in all different directions. And, in Florida, I mean, come on. So going back to that, so he closes these 3 things. So you have the person in Gadsden County, that we said that they have 5, So the incubation period is like, 5 to 14 days. So the thing is that, you have these 5 people, and let's say they test positive on Monday, okay? It would be nice and say, oh, they had symptoms. They tested, so they gave them a test because they were about to die and they wanted to confirm before they died, like, oh, it's coronavirus. Okay, so, that's one more for Gadsden County. How many people did they have contact with? And that's the thing. How many people did they have contact with in the previous, 5 to 14 days? And then how many of those people, because this thing spreads really easily. That's the whole point, That's why we're doing gloves in shops. We're doing masks. Yesterday I had to go buy food and I was really surprised. They had actually wrapped up individual rolls and donuts and everything in plastic wrap. The people the bakers have plastic gloves, and then when the stuff comes out, they wrap it in plastic and put it. So basically, that bread really has, and even when they're doing the dough, so that bread has not touched human hands. By the time you take it home and unwrap it and put it in your mouth, we're taking this shit seriously. And our curve is flat. So, you have these 5 people, and then they have contact with 5 people. And let's say each of those people has contact with just 5 people every single day. You guys are going to shops, you're still going to doing work, and, you're out there talking to your neighbors and stuff. And it's like 5, and then Tuesday is 5 times 5, and then, then that 5 times, because it's an exponential growth. And so from Monday till Friday, what? You could have 250 people just like that, just from those first 5. So you've got an extra 245 people running around Gadsden County. And each of those 5 people has contact with 5 people a day. Quickly, you're right away you're up to 2,500. But the statistics in Gadsden County only counts 5. And maybe picked up a couple more that week because maybe one of the original 25, picked up symptoms quite quickly because they had some kind of like underlying, condition or something. This is how it works. This is why you have to close now, because you already have people inside each of those counties. Okay, even the ones that have 0. I saw under one county underneath Hillsborough. Still had 0. Everyone around it had something, and I'm just like, so probably the people that live there, like, oh, like God put a shield around our county, or whatever they're thinking, and those people are probably being very, very lax because like they go onto their local news station, or if they even bother to, and say, oh, we're clean, No, you're not. There are people there that have it. Okay, there are people inside your county that have this. This will go to every single county inside the United States. Maybe like some small ass like Hawaiian island might be kind of like, safe. But no, you're all going to get this. The entire state of Florida needs to be closed. Okay? I said this 10 days ago. This is the reason I'm making these shitty videos. I don't want you guys to I do follow what happens in the United States. I've seen kind of like how, you guys are really kind of like bordering on not having the ability to self-govern, because I guess the people that want to be leaders there, or the people that want to be politicians there, you guys are really scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of leadership and competence. I don't know why. I do see the whole entire thing because we have a problem in Europe with the populace. And again, like I said before, it's anti-intellectualism. All these people, you don't trust the smart people because you have these leaders that tell you not to trust the smart people. And, this is the result. This catastrophe, this completely and totally preventable catastrophe that's happening now in the United States and that we're going to be seeing over the next few months, this bullshit about, oh, it's 2 weeks. No, it's not 2 weeks. Okay? We've been here for a long time and we're flattening the curve, and we still have at least probably another month or 6 weeks to go before this thing takes its course. You've got some people in the states have really started accelerating, going up. The rest of you are just at the beginning of that. You're going to go up too. And the only choice, the only thing you can do now is to take these strict measures just to try to prevent these grotesque amount of deaths. Right now, your conservative estimates are 250,000 people dead. 250,000. You know, like, how many people died on September the 11th? I mean, like, September the 11th, you all came together and kind of like did a really good job of, you know, being united and, you know, fighting this common enemy and stuff. You know, and like, how many people actually, it was a few thousand. Tragic. But if you look at pure numbers, you know, like, that was one day, you lost a few thousand people in one day. And now, you know, you're looking at conservatively 250,000 people. And they're using terminology like, oh, we're at war. No, you're not. You're not doing shit. You know, you guys have to come together and start taking this much more seriously. And again, call the governor. Call the lieutenant governor. I mean, DeSantis just had a baby. Maybe like he might be better served, like, you know, staying at home, taking care of the kid. Maybe the lieutenant government's got like a few extra IQ points that DeSantis doesn't have. And maybe the lieutenant governor can step in and actually lead you guys by shutting down the state. You know, DeSantis said this yesterday. If the White House recommended a stay-at-home order, it would carry a lot of weight. Florida is the 4th largest state in the United States by population. You've got 21 million people. You know, other states, even smaller states, Louisiana, you know, they took action early, and they're already having, you know, you can see this in the States, California, actually, the Bay Area. I know you guys hate the Bay Area. Everything that comes out of San Francisco is bad, but, you know, San Francisco is also kind of like a center of smart people that you all hate, you know, because in America, you got to hate the smart people, you know, because that's the true evil, you know. San Francisco, the Bay Area is flattening down because they took action. They took it seriously. They took measures. They are going to lose less people than, you know, places like Florida, because you have a total lack of leadership. You know, I saw these things like, you know, this press release that, you know, well, are these opinion pieces about Florida? Well, you know, like, the governor is taking measured action. No, he's not. You know, by doing nothing. I mean, this is the thing I don't even understand about him. And I was dealing with DeSantis with like kid gloves, you know, earlier in these videos. But now, I mean, let me tell you one thing. You know, by doing nothing, I don't even see like who he's trying to please politically. You know, the people that are voting for him, the hardcore people that vote for him, you know, I checked the election results and was looking at the demographics of that. You know, the people that support him the most are the people that are going to get killed the most from this. So by him doing, I mean, are they afraid that if they do, I mean, this might be the same thing for Trump also. You know, somebody has to be telling these people, you have to shut down the country. You have to shut down the state of Florida. You know, look at what other people already did. You know, you guys already had examples. You had 3 months of looking at what other people did and what worked and what didn't. And you guys are still on this, like, you know, all ideas have to be homegrown bullshit. You know, numbers do not have nationalities. Science does not belong to a political party. You know, call the governor. Call the lieutenant governor. You know, make them either get out of the way, you know, call for the resignation. If DeSantis cannot handle this, because clearly he cannot. He's the governor of 21 million people. That's larger than most countries. And he said that it would carry a lot of weight if the White House recommended a stay-at-home order. I mean, is he worried that if he shuts down Florida, that he's going to get a nasty tweet from Trump? I mean, like, for people that live outside the United States, I mean, it's really, I mean, because we watch your news. I mean, you probably don't know this. You can't watch Fox News outside the United States. Did you know that one? Maybe Canada, maybe possibly, but no, you can't watch it here. The only way you can watch Fox News outside of the United States is if you are an American citizen living inside the United States and you have a cable subscription, and then you have to kind of like type in your cable subscription code or something to actually to access Fox News. I mean, I don't know why they do that. I think probably because like most people outside of the United States, if they saw Fox News, they would just be either terrified or just not be able to keep themselves from laughing at the stupid stuff that people say on there. I don't like sharing these videos. I mean, the whole entire thing, like I was trying to say I was going to make this apolitical, but I'm sorry. No. I have been seeing every single morning what Fox News does. They're killing people. The whole entire time. 3 weeks ago, they have these videos now. You can see them, all these like opinion people that what they were saying 3 weeks ago that, oh, the coronavirus is bullshit, it's a hoax, it's a flu, blah, 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 they basically made their viewers complacent. At a time when their viewers should have been vigilant and taking action, their viewers were doing nothing because they had these paid actors, these opinion people. These are paid actors. I'm sorry. Sean Hannity is a paid actor. He has a role to play, and he does it. It's improvised. He's an improvisational actor. They all are. I mean, like, and I'm sorry, but like, I would love 30 minutes face-to-face on TV with Laura Ingraham. I would destroy her. I follow these things, and she's vile. She's an absolutely vile human being. And again, the things that those people have been saying over the last 2 months, you can link them to deaths. You can. Absolutely. You can't have so much influence over so many people, and lead them to ruin. I don't even see how these people sleep at night. I've seen, like, you've seen the videos now, they're all over the internet now, actually what the actual Fox News people said 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and then what they're saying in the last 5 days. They've done this big flip, and they're going, and now this week they're like, we never said it was a hoax. We always said it was a huge problem. No, we have the video evidence. We have video evidence it's unaltered. This is what you said. To your, like, they've got like 35% of the viewership or 40% of the viewership. This is what you said. We have evidence. We should have been making masks. We should have been taking measures. We should have been closing states. We should have been educating the people and being honest with them and not bullshitting them to the point where now you guys are looking at conservatively 250,000 deaths. It is absolutely unconscionable that such a huge, rich, technologically advanced country that had more time than anybody else to prepare for this, that you are going to have by far the largest death count, the largest economic, impact negatively, because you've allowed yourself to be trained and to believe that the smart people are your enemy. And I know, I'm afraid, even after this, I would love to think, I would really love to think that, something as tragic as this, which is about to befall the United States of America, that this might have at least some kind of effect on kind of changing that a little bit. Like maybe starting to trust people, accepting the fact that they actually do have your best interest in heart, and that a lot of the clever people that do these things, they're not out for profit. A lot of the people that I know that are really clever, they work in science and all these things, they're not interested in profit at all. They're interested in helping as many people as possible. They want to put the information that God gave them and put inside their head, they want to share it with people to make people's lives better. They're not the enemy. The people that are the enemy are the people that are telling you that the smart people are the enemy. They're the ones that are profiting from this. These talking heads, these people that are full of bullshit, or like, what was it, Alex Jones guy who's like, he sells all these people in America all this bullshit that other people pick up when they share. It's all over Facebook, and he's peddling his own bullshit, like snake oil products. You don't have scientists out there like, oh, buy my bullshit. No, you don't have that. These are your friends. These are the people that are going to get you through this. Like I said, 10 days ago, I was here telling you all this shit now that they're slowly, like our decision-making process is evolving. That's marketing. They're just trying to prevent the damage that they think might happen if, people actually start to realize, about the man behind the curtain is a moron. Hello. So, just one last thing. And again, this goes to the stupidity thing. This goes to your whole entire kind of like anti-intellectual, like foxy kind of bullshit, is in Florida, they're still following this thing about, what is it? Non-state residents. Yeah, so you've got two sets of statistics in Florida, one for the residents of Florida and one for non-state residents. What a huge waste of people and time and money and resources. That virus doesn't give two shits about whether it infects a person in Florida who's a resident of Florida or a resident of Mississippi or Georgia. I know what Tallahassee's trying to do with this. They're trying to kind of like put the blame on other people. Well, we had all these non-residents here, and they're the reason why we had this, blah, 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 blah. No, it is a virus. People move. People move normally. And, there are Floridians that actually leave Florida and go to other states. Oh my God. Floridians actually leave and go to other countries and continents. People move. And this is how pandemics happen. Fox News this morning, instead of like, trying to help people deal with the situation, Tucker Carlson, that's their big, their headline thing, he did this whole entire thing about like, Chinese people eating bats. What the fuck is that? You can talk about this shit after. Why can't Tucker Carlson do a program on helping his viewers survive this? All of the efforts in the successful countries have gone to helping to protect people, to stop spreading the virus. And you've got like the foxy DeSantis moron people, spending all this time trying to like, okay, so where can we point the finger? Because we don't want them to, it's not our fault, we did, blah, blah, blah. And, you're in the middle of the pandemic now. Emergency rooms and medical systems in the United States are failing now. Your conservative death rate, is climbing. it's a 250,000. It was a quarter. It's morning here in Europe, you know. So it was a 250,000 yesterday. So what's it going to be today? We had to readjust for unforeseen things. You know, the unforeseen things being we didn't do shit. You know, so what, it's going to be a 300,000 tomorrow, or 400,000, 500, 500,000 by Sunday. You know, the longer it takes them to take action, the more of you are going to die. This is the reason why I'm doing these awful, crappy videos. I'm trying to help you. You need to get angry. I mean, you guys get angry about so many other things that are, you know, in the big picture, really small. You know, you guys get angry and you're like, just piston venom about all these things that, you know, affect a handful of people, you know, and, you know, you draw your lines and half of you over here and half of you here, and you're like, you know, you do all these horrible, shitty things, and you like basically destroy the country for nothing, because you have paid actors on both sides that are kind of like telling you like what to do, like you're like coaches or something like that, because you guys clearly cannot think for yourselves. You clearly can't govern yourselves. You know, this is the time for your anger. You know, this is when you need to be angry. I'm angry. I mean, 10 days ago I started making these videos because I saw then what's happening now, and I saw what's going to happen too if you guys still do nothing. You know, you need to be angry, especially in Florida. I mean, your government is failing you. You know, those of you who have lost jobs, that is a tragedy. You're going to be out of work a lot longer the worse this gets. You know, instead of looking at Pornhub today like 8 times, you know, why don't you just look at Pornhub 7 times, and in that extra 10 minutes, you know, send an email or call the Lieutenant Governor's office or the Governor's office. You know, you guys need to give him feedback, and that feedback is either shit or get off the pot. Because his inaction has consequences, and those consequences are Floridian lives. You need to be angry. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I mean, like, it's so ridiculous. You know, the rest of the world, like, we're always, I mean, like we got popcorn. We're just watching you guys, you know, like going back and forth between MSNBC and CNN and, you know, Fox News, and, you know, like, that you guys hate each other and you fight over stupid stuff. I mean, like, you fight over the most inconsequential shit. You know, it's so easy to get you guys angered and enraged, and, oh, you hurt your feelings, like, and the whole snowflake thing, like, you're all snowflakes, basically, you know. You finally all have one crisis. You have one crisis that actually should be uniting you, and, you know, you're all just melting, you know, along the sides. You know, come together. Force the governor of Florida to take action. And make it very clear to him that if he doesn't, then he needs to go. He needs to go. You know, the lieutenant governor is from the same party. This is not political. You know, if DeSantis goes, there's another Republican. So, you know, great. You know, and we've seen this. There are, in America right now, there are some Republican governors who are doing fantastic jobs. The dude in Maryland, fantastic job. You know, Ohio, fantastic job. Okay? Some of them, not good. Tennessee. You know, there's a huge problem now between Kentucky and Tennessee, that Kentucky's actually taking measures, and, you know, they're flattening the curve, and Tennessee's not doing shit, and they share a border. So what? You know, this is the thing that it enrages me. It really just pisses me off so much, because you got, even like, I try to watch CNN here, and I'm like, Why are they not going after these people and explaining to you what is actually going to happen? So let me make it clear for now. I know this is really long and I've got so much work to do today. I'm going to be screwed. But this is really, I'm sorry, like getting you guys actually motivated to do something is more important than me marking some essays. My students will gladly wait 24 hours, if I'm doing something which is actually kind of like good. I'm sorry, I don't have like, I don't have time. I don't have like Pornhub time. Sorry, I've got more important shit to do. This is what happens. Okay, so you've got two states. You have Kentucky and Tennessee. So Kentucky's taking measures, and their curve is going to be flatter. And then you have Tennessee, who isn't doing shit. So, like Kentucky's going to keep everything kind of under control, and they're not going to. There will be less strain on their medical system. Okay, and then you're going to have Tennessee, which is doing nothing. And their medical system is going to collapse. Well, as soon as Tennessee's medical system collapses, this is going to be known. This is going to be on the local news in Tennessee, but they're also going to know that, well, Kentucky, it's not so bad. And, like if I go to the local hospital in Tennessee, I'm not going to get treated, or I'm definitely not going to get a ventilator or those types of things because, the Tennessee's medical system has been completely overwhelmed. But, if I go to Kentucky, I might have a chance. That person's not going to be alone. That person is going to be among many, many people that are just going to cross over the border and then help to overwhelm Kentucky's medical system also. I feel terrible for Louisiana. Louisiana shares borders with Arkansas, Texas, and Mississippi. And those three states, are they doing anything? So Louisiana, they're a hot spot now, but they actually were taking measures, so it's possible they might actually kind of like start to slowly do that. But then their neighbors, all three of their neighbors, are going to be just jumping up. And, I'm sorry, but I really can't imagine, Mississippi really having, especially the rural areas. I remember seeing news in the last few years that especially in the Southeast, a lot of these rural hospitals have been closing. Like, I was thinking like Suwannee County in North Florida was one of the first places, like the places I know, like rural counties. We had property there. We lived there. And, I know, Suwannee County has like it's like the county hospital. It's like a one-story building. It's not that big, and even the population of the county, I think it's probably less than 10,000, but still, like even if they had like 1% of the population, needed medical treatment, that hospital cannot handle that at all. They might have like a handful of ventilators. Or maybe a couple ICU, because like in those rural areas, if you have like serious treatment issues, oftentimes those people get sent to, the nearest city hospital, where all the specialists are. For example, in North Florida, like a lot of people go to Shands in Gainesville, because those counties don't have the resources to staff specialists and have like all these ridiculous expensive equipment and things like that. We had one death. It was kind of funny the way the statistics work. We had one death in Brno, and I think 2 days ago, and it was interesting. Like she was the first. I think I don't know if we've had more than one, but she was the first. She wasn't even from here. Like she was from one of the rural regions, like counties, actually a couple hours from here, and her condition was too serious there, so they brought her to Brno because we've got like the major hospitals. And so she died here, and so she became part of our statistics. But that was the thing. She actually wasn't from here. She got ill somewhere else, and they couldn't help her as well as they could here. And we still, I think, God, we're still under 200 cases, I think. And some of the regions around us, they're starting to go up. Like, we're really kind of like keeping it down. But again, like, we're a university, tech city. We've got like a fairly highly educated population. And we've got, like, we have working class, normal people also. But, I'm seeing this from around the planet where you had kind of like these like techie kind of smart university areas, and their curve is a lot flatter because those are the types of people that understand data and they understand information. It's sad that the people in the United States who are responsible for actually giving the population the information are not intelligent enough or educated enough to understand what the data means, especially for the long-term implications, or either they have a political agenda that conflicts with the data. So, it's kind of like against their best interest to share that. And, that to me basically is just criminal. Well, anyway, you guys really need to get angry. You really, I mean, like, if you can't get angry about this, then, what was all that previous anger about over the last, 10 years there, you guys are fighting all the time? This is the time. This is the time to get angry. What's happening there? It's so stressful. It's so awful to watch. I mean, if I was actually in that state right now, I would be raising hell. I would be like, I mean, I live like most of my adult life in Tallahassee. I mean, I live like about a 10-minute walk from the governor's mansion. Now, I would be there with a goddamn bullhorn and signs and masks with as many people as I could drag there and make as much noise to get television cameras there or whatever. And this is not like, this is not like armchair governoring or anything, but my ex me, I did protest in Tallahassee. I mean, like, I had no problem with that. I was on Nightline after the 2000 election for a very short interview about that because, like, this is kind of like my wheelhouse, like administration and things. Like, that's what I do. I mean, that's kind of like, what I teach, like leadership and like, like these types of things. Get angry, go do something, do it today. It's Wednesday. None of you are working anyway. If you're not working, seriously, it will take you 15 minutes of your time today to go on the internet to get the phone number for the Lieutenant Governor of Florida, the governor of the governor's office for Florida. Call your newspapers also. Call your congresspeople. Take 15 minutes to do that. Or send an email, kind of like, do something or resign. Create some hashtag. Probably not like, shit or get off the pot. But, that's basically what you need to communicate to them. And do not accept this idea that, there's an acceptable minimum loss of life. Especially when you guys are so proud of your country and you never waste the time to tell people that, you're the greatest country on the planet and, Americans are these it's an exceptional race, at least the whites, I guess. And then on the other hand, you're kind of like okay with like just like dumping 250,000, which will be more than the rest of the world combined. That's not okay. Do something. Take your time today. Call them. See you tomorrow.